Hey everyone, my name is Annalise Mitz, and this is my presentation about image sizing and compression. What is the difference between resizing and compression? Resizing will make it smaller and also reduce the file size, and resizing an image for the web means reducing its width and its height, which also ends up reducing its file size. When the size of an image is reduced, the photo editor of your choice that you're using will automatically remove the unnecessary pixel information and change the dimension of the file. So we can define that as resizing, and that is the physical dimensions of an image. Compression is reducing the amount of data stored and making it smaller or larger. You can't keep all the information while compressing the image, which will result in grainy quality. File size is the amount of storage space your image will occupy, and it's measured in kilobytes and megabytes. Dimensions and file size are related, and the larger the dimension of an image, then the larger its file size will be. So the general goal is to resize an image instead of compressing it. What are the most common reasons for resizing an image? When optimizing websites for faster loading times, one of the more common errors is that images aren't the proper size, requiring the browser to resize the image every time the page loads. And since images can often make up the bulk of the data needed to load a website, anything we can do to make our images smaller and easier to load will pay off. It'll increase the site speed and help load the information quicker. We should all know what pixels are. They're tiny squares that you see when you zoom into a picture. Pixels are the main measurement used when resizing images. You can also resize an image by percent if you want, but I prefer to use pixels. And when you resize an image using one of the programs, it doesn't lose the quality if you do it correctly. A bitmap is the most commonly used image type online, and they're always made up of pixels, so JPEGs and PNGs are considered bitmaps. Technically, resampling is the most effective tool used for reducing an image size without losing its quality. But resampling is only necessary if you have a really large file from maybe a camera or a professional shoot. If you're using PPI and DPI while changing an image, I would pay attention to PPI because that's what will affect the photo for a web page versus DPI is dots per printed square inch. So that really only counts if you're printing on paper. What tools can I use to resize my image? Here are some tools on the left that are all software or things that you can buy or download. The ones on the right are online and most of them are free. My favorites are Pick Resize and Pixlr, which I'll do later examples using both of those. They seem to be the most user-friendly in my opinion and easy to use. What format do I choose? When reformatting your image, you can choose different file types such as JPEG or PNG. When using a program like Pixlr, it'll usually automatically keep the input format, which is commonly JPEG. JPEGs are the best format for sites and web pages. PNGs are also acceptable and they're really good for logos and icons. But I would use PNGs sparingly because they're usually larger file sizes and you take a little more time to load. GIFs are rare, but I thought I would just put it on here because they do give you that option when you're resizing, but you shouldn't really be using that format for any web pages. Size is important when resizing your images. After all, that's the main point, I guess. And we're trying to make the image load a lot easier without losing a lot of quality. If you try to make the image around 1500 or 1200 pixels or less for a desktop size screen, And you can always make it smaller if you know the size you want for your website. So if you know that you want it around 500 pixels width, then when you're resizing, you can use that instead. Here is an example I found on the internet. This is a compressed image, and this isn't just resizing. They compressed it, losing some data, and also making the file size smaller. The first image is a normal compression, and it actually looks great here. And the one on the right, you can tell, has been compressed over too many times. And you can see they're the same physical size, but the one on the right was compressed and it made the image pixelated. Do not overcompress your images. My advice would be to stick with basic resizing on user-friendly programs so the file size changes with the data that's stored automatically. HTML and CSS can be used to resize images once they're already embedded, but I wouldn't use it as a first plan of attack. It's better to practice the resizing images first, because resizing with HTML doesn't reduce the file size, so the page still has to load a large file, and it'll usually slow down the loading speed of your page. If you do end up resizing through your code though, and you just want to make an image smaller once you've embedded it, here are some examples to do that through HTML or CSS. The main tag we use when embedding our pictures is the image tag. They also have picture here, but that's used for more than one image. And don't forget to use the alt tag or the alt element when you're embedding an image for alternate text, just in case it can't be displayed, or if someone is using the site that it doesn't show up for them, it'll tell them what the image is. Okay, I was going to do 2 examples with using my 2 favorite sites to resize images. So the first one is Pixlr. I have it open here. So you just go to pixlr.com and you open image. And I was just using this example here. And it pops up with this that says the image you selected is very large, and it gives you the size of the image. It suggests resizing it before you move on. So that's what I came here to do, and it gives you some options here. And I go here with the web max 1280 pixels, so it'll tell you the new size. You just press apply, and that was it. It already has done the work for you. It tells you right here the size down in the corner. So I can save that, or you can make it smaller if you wish. You could change the size here if you wanted it even smaller. You can change the file type here, but JPEG is recommended. And then you can download the image and make sure you save it somewhere organized so you can put it into your code easily. The next example I was going to do, I really like using this website. So you just go to picresize.com. I'll use the same image as an example here. Load it, continue edit picture. This website actually gives you some more little options like this, and I've actually used this a lot of times. Well, I'll do just like 75% smaller instead of a pixel. And then here you can also choose like a screen size. So if you look over here, it tells you the estimated final size. So this is pixels here, 1265 pixels by 829, which is actually a good size. So I could do 50% smaller. If we did this here, it's a similar size as well, 1280. So I'll just keep it at that. It already has the file format here, JPEG, better quality. You click I'm done, resize my picture. And then here it tells you the original size, so it was pretty large. and it also tells you the file size. So that is a really good reduction in file size. So it'll help the web page load a lot quicker when I embed that image in my code. And then you can view the image here if you want, but I just save to disk and save it in a spot for your code. So I hope that helps you guys know a bit more about resizing your images and how to optimize them when using them on your web page.